Hi there. I've been basically asked to shed a bit of light in terms of how I went about preparing for the EMBA journey. And hopefully this could be of benefit to you as you're about to embark on an amazing, yet challenging but rewarding journey. So maybe just to kind of give you a bit of color, I'll talk about how I went about my preparation, but also maybe what I would have done differently now that I have a bit of experience. That being said, I think the very first point I want to touch on is the fact that I went to the Welcome Drinks event, which I found very helpful from my perspective, because up until that point in time, it's quite a solitary journey in the sense that you basically do the application by yourself, you do the interviews, and you get your acceptance letter, which is obviously quite a great milestone in itself. But I think for me, it really became quite real once I was able to kind of attend the event and meet my fellow classmates. And I think also one of the benefits of that event was the fact that they also invited a few current EMBA 23 class members at that point in time, who could then also share their experience in terms of the workload, the pressures, but also what they enjoyed out of it, their motivations for actually embarking on the EMBA journey themselves. And I think that's quite motivating, but it also kind of gives you a bit more context in terms of what to expect. What I would suggest if you do attend the event itself is to ask as many questions as possible and try to glean as much information in terms of how best you can prepare and what you can sort of look to gain out of the experience in itself. Even if you're not able to attend the event in person, I think one thing I would implore you to do is to reach out to the EMBA office to see if maybe they could connect you with an EMBA 24 student. I think most of us will be willing to actually just have a conversation and just share our experiences. And you can ask as many questions as you'd like to, just to kind of get a better understanding of what to expect. And maybe we'll have some tips we can share with you about how to prepare for the upcoming 18 months. I think the second point that I want to touch on is the fact that you get an email which tells you about how many readings and course material that you need to actually go through for the introduction week. It might be a bit daunting, but what I would suggest is start as early as possible. Do not postpone it until the new year kicks off. I think I sort of also made that area in judgment, if I must admit. It's probably better to start as soon as you kind of get the email, because there is quite a lot of material to go through. And the first week is quite fast-paced in nature, because you have your first day where it's a lot of introductory sort of sessions from the professors, the dean and everyone else. But then for the 4 days thereafter, it's you're in class the whole time. There's a lot of information which you have to take in, and it helps to be at least prepared. So you're a bit more on the front foot. We also had to actually do an assignment on the very first week as well. So it does kind of give you a leg up if you are a bit better prepared. And then maybe another point I would like to raise is maybe really trying to get the support of your employer before you embark on this journey, because you might have already had preliminary sort of discussions around the time you might need to spend away from work, maybe on the Fridays, maybe try to take the day off to attend classes a bit earlier. But also just the workload that will be required, after work hours. So you want to be able to kind of have a good balance. But in order for that to really happen very well, is you need the buy-in from your employer and your manager, who will be able to understand. And when you do need a bit of slack, from a work perspective, they can be a bit supportive in that sense. But I think one of the ways to kind of really go about this is to really clarify what your main goals and ambitions are from embarking on this journey, but also kind of translate it right back into how this might add value for the company as you sort of go on this journey. And once you are on this journey, one thing I would suggest is to really sort of, take on board the whole concept of, peer-based learning and self-led learning. On the peer-based perspective, I think one of the best ways is to kind of use your classmates to learn as much as possible. And also whatever you do pick up in class, you can sort of try to bring back into the workplace by having conversations with, people in different domains where you might have discussed a topic which is relevant from that perspective. Firstly, that helps you entrench your own knowledge and what you've learned in class. but you're able to kind of also take those discussions back into the class themselves. But then, I think people in your workspace will already see the value add that you can bring by the kind of questions you have. Maybe you have ideas that you want to bring about and, discuss different topics. From my perspective, also what I've seen is, work can also give you a very good platform to experiment in terms of what you learn in class and what you learn from your peers and the discussions that you have. And maybe you can try to implement some things here and there. And if they're able to sort of really concretely add value, then it's a bit more tangible in terms of why you going on the MBA journey actually adds a lot of value to the employer. And I think once that becomes a lot more visible, then you will definitely get a lot more slack. And also, the one thing I would say is people talk about the in-company project from a very early stage, but you only really start thinking about it in the second semester. What I would say is just in preparation for that, just to be actively always think about any business issues that you might see around at your workplace, and think about how maybe some of the things you learn throughout the course of the 18 months can help you to sort of maybe find solutions for that, and maybe you can actually focus on your in-company project in that case, but also use your in-company project itself as a way to really get buy-in from your employer. So, get them to really, suggest topics from a very early stage, and, maybe discuss with your manager and your colleagues what you're learning and, where you can have impact. And then they can also start thinking from their perspective about, maybe where could certain sort of learnings fit into how you can solve a business issue within the workspace. So those would be some of the points that I would definitely highlight. But also maybe last but not least, as preparation, just be open-minded and just really be willing to learn, like adopt a growth mindset. That also means that at times you have to falsify maybe your own beliefs about certain things. One of the things that we are really taught is to be, a leader by coaching. And that requires active listening. I think it's a skill that you'll learn throughout the 18-month period. But I think that's the best way to really learn, to really, learn from your peers, hear what people are saying, even if they have different opinions from what you have or perspectives. I think it really adds to the journey and, makes the entire process quite rich and fulfilling. So I'll definitely suggest that. And also, just in terms of networking, as preparation, if you don't attend the network drinks beforehand, you've got 18 months in which you can actually really network with your classmates. Sometimes, you might not see the benefit early on, but trust me, the period goes by quite quickly. But from my perspective, what I've seen is that I tend to learn the most through conversation and through sharing my own experiences, but also listening to other people share their experiences with me. And I find that to be very, very rewarding. So I would really say that please have an open mind to learning and also just embracing the power of the network you'll have, because you're going to have a lot of brilliant minds in your class, ambitious people in different fields from different walks of life. So there's definitely a lot of room to learn from each other. But beyond that, what I would say is good luck. And hopefully you enjoy the experience. It really is worth it, even though at times it might not always seem like the best decision. But trust me, it definitely is. I'm only 11 months into the program, but I can already see the tangible benefits just in terms of my personal, professional and career development. So enjoy.
For me, at the start of the MBA, what really helped in the preparation is I made a list of my priorities so that I knew this was important for me. So my priorities were my work, my EMBA, my partner, my dog, and working out at least 3 times a week to keep me sane. So I did that list, and everything else comes after. So even my family who I love and my friends who I love, they came after my top priority list. And that meant that I see them a bit less right now. But I know that I knew that in advance and I told them in advance, so that really helps manage the expectations. I really make sure you get the support you need, juggling all those balls up in the air with that come with doing an MBA and working and having a social life.
Hi, I'm Arun Kumar Ravi, RSM EMBA batch of 2024. I would like to share some thoughts on how to make the best out of the EMBA experience. In the EMBA program at RSM, you've got three key steps. First, reflecting on your experiences, then understanding what you have learned, and finally putting it all back into action. This program is really tailored for folks who've been around a block in their careers. You and your classmates coming from different backgrounds have probably seen a whole lot in your work lives, dealing with people, navigating through cultures, handling tricky situations, experiencing organization changes, or maybe even facing crisis. What's cool about EMBA is that it acts like a mirror, helping you revisit and think deeply about your experiences. And as you dive into tools, frameworks, case studies, and gain knowledge in different subjects, it all becomes even more valuable when you connect it back to your own reflections and share and learn from your classmates. Plus, you can immediately apply some of these learnings in your job, getting feedback not only from your professors, but also from your peers. It's like a continuous cycle of learning and applying stuff right away. And finally, don't miss out on the networking experience with your fellow classmates after class.
Hello, I am Priyadarshini from EMBA 24 cohort. Congratulations on starting this new adventure. I'm going to be sharing with you a few pointers that might come in handy for preparing yourself for this challenge of a lifetime. So first things first, communicate with your friends, family, and employer. Make them understand how important this course is for you and set realistic expectations about your time commitments and availabilities. For instance, Fridays and Saturdays, you'll be having classes on campus, and the following Sunday, you might want to take rest or prepare for the next coming up week. So you are going to be missing quite a lot of friends and family events, and flexibility to work on Saturdays and Sundays would not be a possibility. I would recommend that you ask support by your employers in terms of short work week or holidays for exam preparation, elective weeks, or your study trips. Now that we are talking about setting the right expectations, I would suggest that you set the right expectations for yourself as well. For instance, you might not be able to read all the mandatory or the supplementary readings for a session. You might not be able to score a grade of 8 in all the courses that you take. Do not stress. Give yourself a break and then make a next good attempt. One thing that is going to be a bit hectic and has to be done is time management. So sit down, assess how you spend your time today, and try to make arrangements or changes to accommodate your classes, your assignments, or the preparation for classes that you'll be having to do. We think that we are too busy and haven't got time. But believe me, when you sit down and try to analyze where you spend your time, you've got loads. That is my experience. Now that we are preparing a timetable for ourselves, it is very important for us to stay organized, to be able to follow that. So I think this organization, you can rely on technology for that. Make use of all these schedulers and planners available, and plan a week ahead at least. I know our brains are beautiful, can capture so much data, but I'm telling you, in times of stress, things will slip out and you will miss a lot of deadlines if you just rely on your brain. So use technology. Furthermore, I would definitely recommend that you start getting into a habit of reading if you already are not an avid reader. So start reading a lot of books or newspaper, whatever you prefer. Just also start jotting down a few points that caught your attention or were interesting. This is kind of a preparation for the next 18 months of your life. Okay, so good luck. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fernando Follner. Today, I am here to present to you my recipe into how I make sure that everyone around me, work, family, and friends, are under control regarding expectations, and I also can make sure that I have a healthy work-life balance. Many people do it in different ways. Currently, I yet am to get to know you. I don't know you on a personal level. So I will use my story as a background to help you navigate through this. So the most important thing for me is family. And having a small daughter, being a very present father, it is tough to make sure that I have her, especially her, expectations under control, because I'm very much affected by that as well. So what I do, and I recommend you to do, is to have a long talk with everyone from your family or close family at least, because you will have to dedicate time to study, and you will have to dedicate time over the week and weekend, meaning that most likely those events that you're thinking on that barbecue, you probably won't be able to go to all of them. That family event, summer camping, it could be that you're not going to be able to enjoy as much. On the same time on work, that company travel or that company event, you need to park it. And you also need to inform your company and your work that to your colleagues and your teammates, you will have to stop at 5, 6, whatever work time you're executing, to focus on something else. So extending your hours, no longer an option. The flip side of that is that it will also teach you how to say no. It will teach you how to make sure that you develop your time management skills to another level. So onboarding this also at the same time develops yourself, which is amazing. When you have these expectations with your friends, family, and colleagues already clear, the next important thing is to have a work-life balance, at least a healthy one. So the way I do it is I condense all those 3 pillars. Again, family, work, and study, to their dedicated time over my day. I do not go beyond. So if I focus for 3 hours on something and that's my plan, I focus. I don't do 4 and I don't do 2. It doesn't matter on which of those 3 pillars I'm actually talking about. The focus must be there. And to wrap it up, to make sure that you have expectations and control in your health, work-life balance, be aware or that be there. Don't wait your colleagues and friends to be contacting you over the phone if you're studying. Don't study when you're with your family. And don't think on family while doing work things. So this is how you make sure that you have everything in place and balanced. Be there. That's the most important message overall. When you're executing one of them, focus. That way, you will be able to achieve all those 3 pillars successfully throughout your MBA program. I hope that serves as an inspiration for you. And if you would like to elaborate a bit more, please reach out to me over LinkedIn or email, or if you find me over the campus, I'm always looking forward for the conversation. For the rest of the day, I wish you a fantastic one. Have a nice one. Ciao, ciao.
Hello everyone, this is Mayank Khare from EMBA 24 at RSM. Subjects or courses at EMBA are designed in such a way that they help you to prepare for your future role. This future role or future endeavors can be either an entrepreneurial journey but also growing in a managerial position. Although these courses are designed with a vision that it helps you to grow in your future role, it can very well be applied in your current way of working. Your daily work comprises of certain operational things, but these courses, this education helps you to look beyond your work. For example, we learn hard skills. We learn skills about accounting and financial management. How a company is valuated. What are the decisions that are made and what is the financial implications of these decisions? How a company is valuated by investors or stockholders or shareholders. It not only helps you to understand how your department is impacted, but also if certain decision is taken by higher management, why the decision is made and how the decision can be turned around. If somebody is an investor, then this also helps you in investing into stocks or to understand how the industry is changing. Financial impact is not only localized to a certain company, but there's also a global perspective provided. So for example, a war breaks. There's an environmental change. There's something happening at a different corner of the world. But the impact is seen in your current organization. Why and how? You also learn soft skills like personal leadership development or leading people or organizational behavior, even coaching tricks. So this organizational behavior and leading people helps you to become a better leader. Even though you're not in a leadership position, it still helps you to understand how you can make that next step. Also, understand power dynamics and politics within a current organization. The range of impact of what a person learns in these weekends is totally personal. This is my perspective that I'm sharing, but your perspective could be even a step, 2 step, or 10 steps further. That's the beauty of these courses, that it helps you to apply everything that you learn in whichever way that you comprehend. But while this video, I would like to say that there is certainly a possibility. Thank you.
So the question is, do I do some pre-readings? And I will give you 5 tips about the pre-readings and how to prepare for class. So the first tip and short answer is yes, do the pre-readings. They're part of the curriculum, and without some of them, you'll be lost. There are 2 types of readings. The articles, they will give you some perspective on a concept, and the case. And what you're going to discuss in class is really fully around the case. So the case study is really important, and don't come to class without knowing what the case is about, because all the discussion will revolve around the case. And if you don't know what it is about, you will lose a lot of value, and it's impossible to catch up with this value. First advice, come prepared. Second tip is plan the work. You will have 3 classes per EMBA weekend, so you can assume the readings will be around 100 to 150 pages, maybe together with some videos. So it's a lot to absorb. Don't wait until the second week in between weekends to start looking at the readings. Start as soon as possible and plan your work. What worked for me is a very simple checklist I did on OneNote. You can use whatever you want, but just make sure you're on track, you're making progress, and if you feel you're falling behind, reassess, replan, to make sure that you come to class prepared. Keep the last 1 or 2 days to re-go through your notes, to connect the dots, to take a few steps back to make sure that you come fully prepared to class. So second advice, plan the work. Third advice, if for any reason you're falling a little behind, prioritize the case. Like I said, the case, all the class discussion will be around the case. So make it a rule that you don't come to class without knowing what the case is about. For the articles, most of the times they are good to have, but if you don't have time, they also have an executive summary. So the worst case, you can go through the executive summary, you can go through the bullet points and already get a good sense on what the article is about and how maybe it relates to the case, and it will give you also good context for the class discussion. So prioritize cases if you need. First advice is don't overdo it, especially for the cases where it gets a little bit analytical. You get a lot of numbers like accounting, finance, business analytics. It's easy to spend a lot of time in Excel trying to do all kind of analysis, trying to calculate all kinds of ratio to try to get clarity into the case. I would say if you want to work on the case, 3 to 5 hours is normally more than enough to cover everything and to make sure that you come to class prepared. You have done a little work, you know a bit of ratios, you know what the trends look like. If you find yourself spending more than 4 or 5 hours on a case, it's probably that you're trying to overdoing it and you're losing value for your time. So don't overdo it. Try to time yourself. Try to set some time to work on specific things, and don't go over this time. Don't overdo it. And the fifth advice, and this is something that is also applicable for pretty much anything in the EMBA, is leverage your learning group. Especially for topics that will be challenging for everyone, like finance. Try to plan some group sessions where you discuss the readings, you discuss the case, you discuss what you understood, what you didn't understand. The group are very diverse, so there are probably things you will get very quickly, and probably things that, and the things that you get, you can explain them, and all the things that will be harder for you to understand, but maybe the others will be able to explain them to you. So the peer-to-peer learning experience is really a key, and like for everything else in the EMBA, leverage your group. So 5 tips: come prepared, plan the work. If you need, prioritize cases, don't overdo it, and leverage your group. Thank you very much, and good luck for your EMBA.